finna get your ass the game, man. You know I break it down. Come on, man, you know it's Bain.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Bain Break It Down Forex. It's your boy Big Bain in this thing. And you guys guessed it, another week, another opportunity for us to make some money in the Forex market. Guess what? It's the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up. All right, but nah, real spill. Summertime is finally here, guys. And the most important part of it is Gemini season. All right, so shout out to all those Geminis. Go ahead and drop the emoji in the comments. Represent. Y'all know it is our time and we finna shine. All right, so this will be the best month in the Forex market for us making money. All right, just want to throw that out there because you know what it is. All right, but guys, without further ado, let's hop right into it. All right, boom, over to the dollar, guys. So what I'm seeing is we had a nice little double bottom. We broke the neckline, even broke this down trend line. So we had a lot of change of character to the upside. We even broke this previous high, making a new high, pulling all the way back to the area that we initially took off from. So I expect the dollar to still rise, guys. I'm bullish on the dollar. It's just that simple. All right, moving over to odd dollar. All right, odd dollar is a little mixed. We got a lot of consolidation, as you can see right here, but we did get a change of character, making a new high, respecting the previous low, which was a strong low. So we may see the odd dollar rise, but typically when the dollar is strong or when the dollar looks like it's going to rise, the odd dollar will fall. So I'm going to go bearish on the odd dollar for now, just because we're starting to get a nice little push down. But again, guys, got to be very careful with this because it is extremely mixy. So to be honest, I really wouldn't trade it this week. I'll just kind of let it play out until it breaks below the low or breaks below above the high, and then I'll try to get into trading opportunities from there. All right, but as it stands right now, it's dropping, so I'm going to go bearish on odd dollar. All right, over to euro dollar. My team sold it last week off the double top. All right, and we made a good amount of profit from there. It just pulled back on us, respecting this little bit of a fair value gap that we have right here. Okay, and I expect it to continue to drop, so I'm bearish on euro dollar, guys, over 185 pips. Or really over about 100 pips, because we were looking to catch it from supply. It just never tapped into that area. So you never know, right? It might do that and then drop, but as it stands right now, it's created a lower high, and we have a nice bearish candle with a good body. So I expect it to continue falling, guys. Bearish on euro dollar. All right, over to pound dollar, same exact thing. We broke the low, made a new low, pulled all the way back, respected the supply area, and we started to get downtrend market structure. So it should go to break below this low, which is why we're bearish. My team is up 23 pips on a sell on GU. I'm still bearish on GU. All right, moving over to New Zealand dollar. All right, it's a little mixed, right? Typically, you know, if euro dollar, pound dollar is falling, New Zealand dollar would do the same thing, but I kind of want to stay away from it. It's way too choppy. But if I just had to go with, you know, birds of a feather, then I'll go bearish, as EU and GU look like they're going to drop. So I'll just say bearish on NU, but I really don't like the setup, guys. So I'll, pretty much be leaving that alone. EU and GU will be the only ones that I'll be looking to participate in. All right, over to dollar CAD. And right now, guys, this is also just a bit mixy because we broke this low over here, we made this new low, and we did pull back to a nice supply area where we started to drop, but now we're sitting at this bit of a support level right here where we could actually begin to rise. So because the dollar looks bullish on the dollar DXY itself, the dollar CAD could absolutely rise from this particular area. So guys, without making it extremely complicated on it continuing to possibly fall, I'm just going to go bullish on the dollar CAD for right now. I think it'll push up probably about to this area here before it thinks about falling again. And if we get up to that area, we're talking about 50 to 60 pips or so. All right, so I'm going to go bullish on the dollar CAD, but I really don't like it overall to trade. it's, you know, coming from a nice demand area. We got nice bullish candles, so it wouldn't hurt to take a trade from here up to, you know, the supply area to try to get, you know, about 40 to 60 pips out of it. All right, moving over to dollar CHF, and my team is bullish on it, right? We caught it really from this area on Thursday night, exactly at 9 p.m. When I have my lives, and then we wrote this up, but it's since pulled back. But I believe we're going to get that shot way up to go and try to break above these highs on the dollar CHF. Again, this lines up the most with the dollar itself, right? So the trend line was down here. Again, we broke that trend line. We even broke some of these highs, mainly this one, right, making that new high. So all of this is just a pullback to the strong demand area. We got major rejection from that demand area, and we've been, you know, hovering above that ever since. So we got a lot of dollar news coming out this week. We got news for the dollar every single day this week, and it's all major economic news. So guys, we're going to have a rocking and rolling week in the Forex market. Obviously, you know, it's going to be that way because it's Gemini season. All right, but definitely don't miss your opportunity here on dollar CHF for the rise. All right, bullish on that. Over the dollar JPY, I believe we're going to get a rise as well. All right, the JPY looks kind of weak. This is your textbook double bottom. We just broke above the neckline of that double bottom here, got the retest, right? And now the bulls are showing up. I believe we're going to skyrocket. Now this is over 200 pips on UJ, but very nice entry from where price is right now with just a 67 pip stop loss. So again, I'm looking for UJ to boom. All right, so don't miss out. All right, bullish on UJ. All right, pound odd. For right now, because we broke the trend line and we just got to this low again, we made this nice push down. We'll probably push up a little bit more, possibly into this fair value gap before pound odd begins to fall. All right, so just initially, I'm going to be bullish on pound odd. But once it gets up to this fair value gap, I will be looking to sell it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So temporary bullish, but overall bearish on pound odd. All right, over to pound CAD, and let's get a little higher so you guys can see how this looks. All right, so tapping into the fair value gap, you can see a major push down. So again, guys, there's a little bit more imbalance for it to fill. Don't know if it's going to continue to shoot straight down and fill that, right, getting to this bit of a demand level here. But what I'm expecting is a rise. It's just I don't know when that rise is going to get there, or it's going to begin rather, because you know, we're having a major shot down. So it could respect this fair value gap and then begin to pull back and then drop, or it can drop to this fair value gap and then rise from there, right? Getting all the way back up to the trend line before dropping again. So it's a little mixed for where it is right now, but you know, if anything, I'll be looking to, you know, see if I can catch it on the upside from here, or from here, you know, again, just catching that pullback, right? We don't want to catch a falling knife, right? This is already falling, right? So you don't want to sell it, right? Because it can still rise from here, and then you don't want to buy it just yet because there hasn't been any bulls to show up. There hasn't been any V shapes. Plus, we haven't taken out any of the liquidity or balanced out the fair value gap that sits below it. So this is actually what I meant to do here, is the fair value gap, and then right below it is demand. So again, we may get that push a little deeper, but once that happens, guys, we should get a nice rise as a pullback. And then even from there, when it gets up here, guys, we can catch it right back down to the downside. Again, you can catch it both ways if you know how to play. All right, and again, rock with me if you don't understand how the rules of the game goes. All right, I will teach you guys and you'll know. All right, and that's, you know, half the battle. G.I. Joe. All right, over to pound CHF, and guys, we broke a low, we made a new low, so I do expect some sort of pullback into the imbalance that we have here. So I'm going to go with bullish on pound CHF. All right, over to pound JPY, and again, just like UJ, I expected it to rise. With GJ, right, I'm also expecting it to rise. 233 pips on the table. Now it may not get that far, right, but I do expect some sort of rise out of GJ before, you know, potential drop. All right, over to pound New Zealand, and I have no idea what it's going to do. All I know is it is respecting this low, but it's been testing this low multiple times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Eventually it'll break that, right? But just don't know if it will right now. So ultimately I'm just staying away from pound New Zealand until I get an official break of the low or potential break of the high. Then I'll come back and I'll look for a play, and then things should be clear at that point. But if I had to take a guess, I'm going to guess it's going to break the low and start to fall just because it's tested it so many times. All right. So bearish on pound New Zealand, even though I won't be touching it. All right. Over to crude oil, we broke the high, made a new high, pulled all the way back. So this is a strong low. We got rejection. I expect crude oil to push up to kind of fill this imbalance a little more. But at the same time, we've 1, 2, 3 tests. So we might end up breaking below on oil. So yeah, I just got to be careful, right? I won't really buy it until I look on the lower time frame and I can see a change of structure from it coming down to rising, which would mainly be breaking above this potential this structural high right here. So price would have to get above here, close, and then I'll say, okay, yeah, we'll probably continue pushing up. But as it stands right now, we probably could break that low and continue falling. So very tricky on oil, guys. Be careful. All right. Over to silver, we have a bit of a symmetrical wedge or triangle, if you will. So price is just consolidating in between this area. What's going to initially happen, because we broke the high and we made a new high, this is building liquidity. I feel like this is going to get swept first, right? So that's price is going to drop down, grab this liquidity, tap into demand, and then come up to take this liquidity out. All right. So I'm bearish on silver, right? And that lines up with the dollar rising. But then I believe we're going to tap into demand and reverse and rise on silver. All right. So you're going to have to be very careful on how you try to play silver, right? For a buy or a sell, because then you can buy it now and it may get up to here and just kind of keep going in between, right, till it gets to the apex and breaks out. But because it broke the high, that tells me price wants to go higher. So all of this that we're seeing is just a pullback to where they've engineered liquidity, and demand area sits right below that. So it's very highly likely that gets swept, this gets tapped into, and then we push up to the upside. So again, I'm just saying all that to say I'm bearish on silver, but guys, be very careful trying to buy it right out the gate. All right. Gold. So gold broke the low, made a new low, and it's kind of pulling back, but it's very, very mixy. We all know gold has just been rising. With the way that it looks right now, it still looks like it can rise, to kind of continue the pullback phase, right? This was, again, just the break here, making a new low. So all of this that you're seeing is the pullback. We got rejection here, and price is probably going to rise up, getting to this supply area, maybe even this supply area before it drops. So for now, I'm bullish on gold, even though that does not line up or correlate with the dollar rising, right? Typically when the dollar rises, gold will fall, right? But if you just go by correlation, guys, you'll get hurt. All right. You want to go by market structure because it is king. All right. So this is a great example of that, right? Where gold doesn't necessarily look like it wants to go down from a market structure standpoint. So that does not line up with the correlation with the dollar. Again, guys, go with the chart and everything will be all right. All right. But bullish on gold. And then from, rising, we may fall from there. All right. But bullish for now. All right. Over to natural gas, where, we made the new low. So I'm expecting a pullback to balance out this fair value gap. So, I'm bullish on it, right? And then from there, I'll be expecting it to potentially fall down, right? So bullish on natural gas. All right, SPY looks like it's time to die once again. All right, SPY did give us some nice drops, but I think it was Friday or one of those days last week. It just kind of, I guess this was Wednesday, it shot up a good bit, right? And then it started to really, come down. All right, if we look at this from a higher time frame, what we're going to see, right, is we took out this high right here with that wick. So we made a run up, right, a pullback, and then the run should have broken above this high, but it did not. So again, this is an indication that price is failing to get higher. All right, guys, this is how you read it. All right, so coming down to the 4 hour, what you'll see is there was that high. So it did technically break above, this particular high, but on a higher time frame, it doesn't look convincing to continue going higher, right? Because we have a nice little what we would call an evening star, just a bit, right? It's not visible from a textbook standpoint on this 4 hour time frame, but regardless, this is just a little break above the high, and then we come right back into the zone. Not only do we do that, but we push down to where we end up having a change of character. So instead of going high, 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 low, high, 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 low, right, and high, high, we end up making a lower low, and now we have a structure of a lower high. So again, we're getting plenty of rejection in this area, and you can see my position is short on SPY, where I expected to begin to fall. That lines up with the dollar rising. Typically the indices will fall. So bearish on SPY, guys. Try not to miss out. It's perfect. It's at a perfect price point right now to enter the trade short. All right, over to NAS, same exact kind of setup, guys. You see that same movement coming down, breaking this low, giving us a change of character, making a new low, now just pulling back to potentially anywhere up in this area all the way to this supply. So we could get a rise out of NAS all the way up before we get the drop, but I'm expecting it not to really get past this fair value gap on the lower time frame, and then I'm expecting it to drop again 461 points on the table with this kind of setup. But just be mindful that it may get up a little higher before it does the drop. All right, so do your due diligence on reading structure, right? So what we want to see is when price gets up higher, we want to see some kind of change of character where it's coming down, right? If we can see that, then it's time to rock and roll with the sell. All right, that's how that goes. Okay, but bearish on NAS. Last but not least, US 30, right? Same blueprint, same MO, guys. Broke this low, right? Gave us a change of character, made a new low, pulling back, rejected the middle of the fair value gap to the T, guys. It's time to make money on US 30, right? 1,000 points on the table, right? That could really do some things, all right, for your account. So don't miss out. All right, again, guys, if y'all really trying to learn how this goes, right, and you want to understand this Forex stuff, right, and you're not caught up in the glam and the glitz, right, the Ferraris and the yachts and all that good stuff, right? If you really just want to be able to say, okay, I can make enough money to pay my bills, I can make enough money to pay my rent, right, maybe I can make enough money to spoil myself, right? If that's something that you're interested in, right, and trying to make that happen through Forex, come on and check me out, forexwithbain.com. Click on the link to join the Discord. I promise you will not regret it. All right, but guys, in the meantime, in between time, Geminis, y'all know what it is. It's your boy. Peace.
Wanna get money? Wanna get paid? That's Forex. Like a sensei, then you know you gotta come and swing my way. And if you wanna fast forward, hit replay.